True story. I was driving down the street the other day, and I drove past a bank. Now, I knew it was a bank because it had the name of a familiar sounding bank on it. It's the bank that I use. And it dawned on me how long it's been since I've actually walked into a bank. I can't remember the last time I physically walked into a bank. Wow, has the way that we spend and earn and save and share money changed in the past few years? Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Rundown, and welcome to my exceptional panelists, including Tamara Pika. How are you, Tamara?
I am good. How about yourself?
I'm doing really, really well, thank you. And Mr. Tony Mobley.
Greetings, sir.
How you doing, sir?
Happy to be here.
Good to have
I'm
you
good.
here. Good to have you here. And Ms. Lois, how are you, Lois Richter?
I am fine, and I want to tell you we're at the opposite ends of the country. My weather is gorgeous. How's yours?
I don't know. I was inside all day. I have no. I went out once to my car. It was hot, and then I got back inside. It's fine, I think. It was very beautiful today.
Summer is supposed to be hot.
Yes, it is. Absolutely. And my good friend Dave. How are you, sir?
Pretty good. We're getting rain, which is great because it puts out fires.
Well, there you go.
So,
Hopefully you don't have fires.
They're all going away now.
Oh, I love it. I'll take that. And finally, of course, Mr. Sky Gleason with this beautiful backdrop. Beautiful backdrop. How was your burger?
It was lovely.
I'm
Habit
glad.
Hamburgers from Santa Barbara did a franchise up here in the Pacific Northwest, and the mushroom burger is awesome. And I didn't grill it myself. I could have. I should have. We have a new Weber grill over there. But
If I
yes,
ate
this is
meat-
not a backdrop. This is the real beautiful.
If
Yes.
I ate meat, it would be a
You would-
mushroom burger.
If you eat a mushroom that's just mushroom, those can be awesome.
Yes.
A real
Oh,
mushroom
no.
burger, those are tasty.
I love a mushroom
Without the meat,
burger
yeah.
without the dead stuff in between it.
Mhm.
But yes, we went to a steakhouse last night for my a loved one's birthday because that's his thing. It was a really fancy steakhouse, which right off the bat was probably not the best place for me to be. But this was something new to me. So I had my little salad because I'm a vegetarian. I had my little salad. Everyone else got
Yeah.
a piece of steak, almost everyone else. But apparently in these steakhouses, like there are no sides. In the fancy steakhouses, you just get the cow. Like that's all you get on
yeah.
the plate is the
Yeah.
cow.
Yeah,
I
yeah. Welcome to how some people live.
don't understand that.
not-
Like
I'm
you
not
need
you.
green beans or mashed
that's-
potatoes or something. You need a
You
panel of
Baked
sides.
potatoes.
You
Yeah.
can't just
We are
have the
the
main
sides.
course, for goodness sakes.
Mm-hmm.
It's never enough. Am I the only vegetarian on this panel? Yeah.
Yeah, I
I'll
think
eat
so.
vegetables, but I'm
I eat vegetables.
I love
that does
vegetables.
not count, Lois.
not exclusive. I'm
Uh,
ambimouthorous.
I'm omnivorous.
Good word.
I'm-
I'll take that word.
yeah, I'm not a vegetarian, but I don't eat any beef or pork. I only eat chicken
Chicken and
or
fish. So
turkey
you're almost a pescatarian.
and fish.
You're almost a
Yes.
pescatarian. That's close. I'll take it. When my family loved me, they were vegetarians. But that's for another show. Veo 3 is the new big video model available from Google. And surprise, surprise, that it's not just living in Google's AI studio. It is coming to YouTube, and it is currently available in Canva. Now, there are a few things that are both exciting and a little crazy about this. First of all, Canva had video AI generation. It was pretty crummy, if you ask me. It was cheap. VO3 is one of the best video models out there. By the way, I heard, Sky, you said something before about Midjourney. They also just released video,
Oh yeah.
which I saw. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So VO3 though from Google is apparently one of the best, if not the best models, and it's quite expensive to run. On the low end, it's like $1 a prompt. On the high end, it's like $5 a prompt. So this is what it looks like over in Canva. No, that's not. That's just my blank desktop. Well, that's not exciting. Hold on a second.
Amazing. Look at the trees. They look
It's
like
so believable.
I love it.
There
Light
it
on it
is.
is
Okay.
so critical.
Just, oh my God. Okay. So
no
this
mercy.
is,
No mercy.
No, that's it.
so when you go into, let's get back to the home. So when you go over to your home screen here, you've got Canva AI, and then you can, when you start to type in here, one of your options down here will be create a video clip. And then you can choose the style, the aspect ratio, all these other things, or you can just put in a full prompt. So that's actually what I did. So where would I find, here we go. So the prompt that I put in, which I did not write, I got it from OpenAI, was create an 8-second cinematic video of a modern, hip, but slightly lonely rabbi in his 40s. I didn't put the in his 40s part. It did that. Sitting at a sleek desk in a softly lit, moody home office. He wears a black hoodie over a talit, which is the fringed garment that you wear during prayer. Glasses slightly tilted, headphones around his neck, and a mic in front of him. The screen glows from his computer as he prepares to go live for his podcast, The Rundown. And then it keeps going. And okay, so this is what it created.
It's Sky Gleason with a beard. Yeah.
Now, could you hear that or no?
No.
Yeah,
No.
my audio isn't
No,
routed
sorry.
correctly. That's okay. So
That's okay.
there was some pretty poor audio, actually. And it said, all right, let's get into this. Here's the rundown. And at a certain point in the middle here, he sort of burps, I think. I don't really understand that. But so this is VO3 based on that prompt. Forget the audio. You don't have to worry about the audio. I mean,
Is the camera move in that description, or did it
Yeah.
just create it?
it says camera starts with a slow dolly in from behind his
Okay.
shoulder, revealing a focused expression reflected in the screen. A warm ambient synth hum plays in the background that is there. He takes a breath and softly says into the mic, all right, let's get into it. This is the rundown. And then it talks
I
about
can see
some
the
lighting.
focus puller pulling on the lens there just a little bit, Right about there.
he's not
Yeah,
reflected
He's
in the screen at all,
readjusting the
but-
focus, so he's
I mean,
pushing the lens.
But this is a pretty good, I don't know. That's
The problem with the way it currently is if you were to ask for something different about it, or you wanted to make a revision, it would regenerate
Yeah.
the whole thing.
it
So
changes the
it
entire
doesn't
thing.
build on what it knows yet. But so you end up with something that is like, oh, I love this, except for this one piece, and then it's going to regenerate everything.
So
as
that's
as
why,
AI
as
does.
soon as
Less-
you generate a piece, you come up here and you click download, so you
Right.
don't use it.
Exactly.
And what is the
Unless
background saying?
less than a year ago, that was the issue with photography, though.
Hmm.
And then they said, "Oh, circle the eyeballs, and we'll just change the eyeballs. Circle the glasses, we'll just change the glasses." So, if they can do it in photography, it's only a matter of time.
Now this is Lois. We're gonna come to the question that you put in for therapy a little later. But I mean, this is, if I saw this and I didn't know this looks real. I mean, it's very strange that you'd be wearing the shawl, the prayer shawl, when you're doing a podcast. That doesn't make any sense. But I mean, as far as video quality, it's
pretty good.
really good.
I
Maybe-
think
maybe
too,
it's
you can
a prayer
upload a
about- a
video of
prayer podcast.
yourself.
You might be able to upload a video of yourself and then have it play
Yeah,
with that.
and then have the prompt go.
Yeah. Now you get 5 prompts a month, which goes to how expensive this is.
Right.
You have to have a pro plan, so not on free,
Mm-hmm.
and you get up to 5 prompts a month. But the fact that these, I mean, I think the interesting piece to me is that these tools are now finding their way into the mainstream. And we're not talking just about the chatbot. We're talking about more advanced tools. So this AI video generation model is coming to Shorts later this summer, right in YouTube. So you can already use the VO2 model to generate backgrounds. We don't know yet exactly what VO3 will enable in Shorts, but because it can incorporate audio, which is something new in Canva also, because you've got VO3, you now have, and I'm sorry that I'm not able to, it's a little frustrating that I can't show that. I probably could if I really wanted to.
Next week you'll have it.
No, I won't
we'll give
have
you
it next week.
we'll give you 5 days.
I actually know what the problem is. I can fix it right now. But audio. See, here it is. Capture system audio. That's the problem all the time. Now you'll be able to hear it. Let me go back so you could, because this actually is one of the big things about it is
All right, let's get into it. This is the rundown.
you could hear it that time, right?
He's clearing his throat there.
Yeah. So I don't know what the
Snort.
burp in the middle was, but so you've got that hum in the background, and then he says all the words very clearly last time.
All right, let's get into it. This is the rundown.
No, he's Yiddish.
Yeah, the yeah.
I'm just saying. You put the prayer shawl on him.
I mean, what's funny about this to me is that one of my idols, the rabbis that I just adore and look up to the most, actually looks just like this guy. He looks just like this guy.
I can't read what's behind him on that black screen. Is it readable? Is it logical?
It's not readable to me. It looks maybe like broadcasting news, but it's blurred throughout the entire video. Whatever. We don't have to dwell on this, but it's just, boy, are we
So
seeing.
what comes to mind is when I started watching the upper 300 channels on cable TV, and they were the cooking shows, and it irritated me because they were 3-second edits every 3 seconds, every 3 seconds, every 3 seconds. And what I realized is it's the cable channel trying to keep your attention, because I was watching this in a hotel room and I was ready to go on. Oh, but something changed. Oh, but something, and it kept me there. And I didn't need to know what the story was because it was cooking. And so now we have been conditioned to 3-second edits. And now that AI is giving us 3-second edits, Tamara, help.
I find that whenever I look at this, I'm impressed by what it can do. And I can think of a couple scenarios that I would want to do it. But it keeps reminding me of I've been in rehearsal for over half my life, and I've worked with creative people in the last 10 years. I've worked with animation, and that's been the big wake-up call of not what I know, but what I don't know. And I feel like I could prompt something amazing, but what I'm missing is the piece that I don't know that someone else brings to the table, and that, an actor tries to read it a different way, that it wasn't written that way. I mean, to me, that's where the real art comes in. So I think this is great in a lot of ways, and it's only going to get better. I mean, it's pretty impressive now. And it's when you're able to kind of I saw someone do scenes and create like a longer movie with them. And it was interesting, but it was like a different scene render each time. So if it can't build on each other, then you can't really do a longer piece with it. Will it be able to do that? Sure, if it's able to do this. But I think you just do miss that collaboration, or I would miss that collaboration, because that's what I kind of grew up with.
Well,
the stuff I don't know.
Jump cuts used to be an abomination, and now it's an expectation because we're conditioned to it. So to have the same character every scene, you are so last week, Tamara. Come on.
But listen, editors make or break a script. They can literally change a script and make it amazing. And I've seen it happen a million times where a script was great, it was fine, but the editor like told the story. So I have not seen that kind of editing, that level of editing from AI, where a new story is being told in a way that really brings the audience in. So there's no audience there.
I think
So
part of
What's
the
the
problem
three?
is
What's the three stories you tell, Tamara? What's the three
wait,
stories?
is this a quiz on a Thursday night?
No, the one you write, the one you shoot,
Yep.
and then the one you edit.
Right.
And so you fix it in post. That's why I get paid.
part of the
Exactly.
part of the problem with, I would say there are two issues with AI video generation right now. One is that, at least in this model with Canva, you're limited to 8 seconds a clip. And so, and because of what you said earlier, Tamara, the fact that every clip is distinct and unique and not necessarily connected to the one that came before it, it doesn't seem to have good memory yet. Stringing those together doesn't always work. And the second thing is that it's very hard to edit the clips because there's no separating foreground from background. There's no, I mean, there are no elements in it. It is one cooked product, and you just sort of have to eat it the way it is. But you know what?
I just like, who is this really for though? Because I mean, honestly, the lay people who need a video, I think, is a very small market. The average lay person who really would benefit from being able to put together a video, are they going to use it? I mean, I'm curious, like
I think
people's
it's for
thoughts on that.
marketers. I think it's for low-level marketers who use Canva, and they can
Yeah,
spit
I
out
mean-
quick shorts and videos and things like that.
I mean, that's how I would use it as a non-editor person. I would totally use it that way, especially if it gets to the point where you can build off of your scripts. Because what I saw on the Canva demonstration was he did 5 different scenes. And so he rendered 5 different things to continue his script. And it produced a very cute little duck, and it did a whole thing on how you can do things in Canva. And it was very cute, but each duck was different. So it was like not really the same.
This is
It wasn't
terrifying.
a continuing story.
I watched the
Do you
same
remember
video
the
that Tamara did.
the-
Yeah,
I watched the
Mind meld,
same
Dave.
video. We did not talk. We did not plan this.
No.
But I watched the duck video.
because
Well, if it walks like a
If
duck,
it
when
walks
Nike-
like a
Nike
duck.
but
started-
it, like
Absolutely.
it was super interesting how he created a whole
It was.
story utilizing scenes. I was like, all right, that's cool. It'll be super cool when you can build on the scene previous. You're like, take this duck, move him into this location, take this one and do it there.
or
Absolutely.
at the end, collect up all 5 ducks as a group.
Right.
And then you've got a duck family. Hey, have any of you been in a Waymo?
No.
Okay,
What's a
Sky has been
Waymo?
in one. I'm going in one. I'm going to San Francisco the end of June to visit my mom. And the one thing I want to do is go on a Waymo. Well,
Oh,
I
it's
may
so
not
good.
have to fly to San Francisco because apparently Waymo is coming to New York City, which I think is crazy.
What's a
No.
way?
It's
What's a Waymo?
it is
Sky, what's
it's a
Waymo?
Jaguar. The vehicle itself is a Jaguar. The company, I believe, is based in Ohio, but I think it's owned by somebody much bigger than they. They are physically in
Waymo is
geographic regions.
Isn't Waymo Google?
I believe it might be. They
Yeah.
also have their own
Yeah, no, it's
experience,
Google.
but Waymo has been going out for at least 4 or 5 years, specifically in San Francisco. It's a robot car.
Ah.
You get out your app, you say, here I am. It says, okay. And you watch 2 or 3 of them. And then, okay, here comes yours. And on the top of this is a little helmet of LED digital. And your name says, hey, Sky, hey, Sky, hey. And it comes up. And then with the phone, you go, open the door, click. And the little handles go, and you get in. And then there's a little screen in the back, a little screen in the front, and you just touch the screen and away you go. I will send you a video of me in San Francisco. They're awesome. Why do I think that? I had just been with the Uber driver that was so distracted, scared the out of me, versus this machine has 32 eyeballs. It's tapped into every camera up and down the street, the satellite GPS. It's being checked on by, it had so much horsepower, brain, and resources. I felt so safe in this vehicle. And it was a Jaguar.
So apparently, it's not going to be driving driverless yet.
Right.
It's going there. They're gonna start driving it around the
Oh, in
city.
DC.
And then if they get permitted, they will drive with a driver in the car, but not driving, because it is still illegal to have a driverless car in New York State. But they're hoping to expand this. I'm excited. I think the idea of doing it in New York City is insane. I mean, New York City is a completely different monster than driving in San Francisco.
As a New Yorker?
Am I wrong about that? Or
No, I mean, so there's a lot of parts of New York City now that are just walkable. So they're only one way. So in that sense, there's a part of me that is like, this is terrifying. And the other part of me is like, you know what? Let's get rid of all of the other cars and just put those cars
that
there.
I
Maybe
agree
we
with.
would solve some of our problems.
that I agree with 100%.
It's projecting ahead and giving on the screen. It's showing you 3 cars ahead. It's showing you the poor gentleman on the side of the road because it's reading the heat sink of a thing. It sees the kid on the Lime scooter coming up here. It sees the people walking by. It projects where the truck is blinking. It's got so many eyeballs in so many directions. It's like, oh, I'll never do that. It's like, have you ridden with the guy that just came from?
I rode in a self-driving Tesla that has self-driving mode, and you can choose
Different issue.
No, but you could choose like aggressive mode or not aggressive. And I was like impressed on the one hand. It's not my car, but I was like impressed. But on the other hand, I was like, this is terrifying. Like I just need and the driver was there so he could take control back. It was a little weird.
It's also
but
completely different technology, by the way.
Yeah,
And
listen,
I'm anxious.
I love the idea of getting people off the road. I just got a new car and became the sole driver in my family, and I've realized that post-COVID, people came back feral. Like I just cannot even the things that people do in automobiles right now just is astounding. So I'm all for it.
I'm all for it also, but it really only gets good. It really only works when all of the cars are autonomous so that they can all talk to each other. Yeah. As soon as you put a human in the middle of it, the whole thing goes to something.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, I am proud to say that this week I had no issue.
Help?
But Lois does. Lois, what's wrong?
Oh, all right. You know, what I do is I put these little comments in the document that we all share, and then David goes, oh.
Then I pick on you.
Yeah. Okay, so how can I tell if something on a screen is real or not? Does it matter? I know that the game I play on my phone has unreal images, that's obvious. But what about a proof that someone posts to show something happened? Like those burning cars images that were proving that the demonstrators in LA were criminals? Well, it turned out those were from years ago. How would I know? Should I just disbelieve everything I see on a screen?
I could help you out there. So,
Okay.
you know, when hostages, have to prove they're still alive, they hold up a newspaper, so if anybody does this and you recognize the headline or the newspaper itself, then chances are it's real.
Well, can't they just cut that into an old video?
That's a lot of work.
Not anymore. That's the point, right? Is that I can now tell AI, just in Canva even, create this person holding up a newspaper that has today's date on it. Look, Lois, I think that what you're asking is an incredibly valid and important question, and it's all the more important when we think about this question in the context of politics, when we think about this question in the context of news reporting, geopolitics, things like that. I'm very appreciative when I'm watching on TikTok that in the bottom left, I think, there's usually a comment, or I don't even know how it gets it. I don't know if it's auto-generated or if someone has to tag it, but when it says this video is AI generated or this contains AI generated content, I'm very thankful for that, because honestly, it's very difficult for me to tell at this point what's real and what
I've
isn't.
I've taken to listening to something and saying I need to check that first. And if I am going to repeat that information, I'm like, I have not fact checked this yet, because a lot of times I find that things seem real and I'm like, wow, that's a great quote. I love that. And then I do fact check it and it's not correct.
Yeah.
So my default setting now is that it's not correct until I've done a little more research. And I now think that is the default setting, because we just don't know. And there's so much, what you realize in especially where we're so polarized, is that if you do take time to go look at, I know what gets fed to me in my algorithm, and it's exactly what I want to hear. So if you really deep dive and you see what other people are being served in their algorithm, it looks fantastic and smart and right. And so it is very scary that we live in a time where everything looks correct. It looks smart, it looks well put together, it looks right. So I think you do have to do your own research.
As you were, I'm sorry, Lois, go ahead.
If you said what you see is what the algorithm tells you because it knows what Tamara likes. Well, I'm sure it's doing that for me, even though I'm not aware of what the algorithm is. Is it possible to create an alter ego that looks at the opposite side? Because
I have that.
I can't do that as me, because it would know it was me.
No, I have an account that I set up to be the other side. That is not anything attached to me, and it feeds me. That's why I'm saying, when you look at something, when you look at what's fed to you, it looks exactly what you want. And it's so obvious that the other is absolutely wrong. It's completely obvious. But when you look in an objective way, in research and science, at what other people are being, there's polar sides to both. And so we kind of tend to see the polar sides and go, well, that side is totally wrong. But there's a lot of middle ground, and middle ground looks really good if that's what you are.
But I
you
think
look for.
I think you're talking about something different now. I think we've strayed from your original issue. The original issue was, how do I know what's real? Now we're talking about, how do I know what's
authentic,
true, or
Right.
And the problem with
but how do you know what's real? You do have to do. I think you have to do research to authenticate things.
Oh,
I think
I
you have
agree,
to say
but-
that quote sounds great.
No,
Like the
I
Pope
agree. But what I'm saying
said that
is
great,
is-
amazing.
Right, but what I'm saying is, creating an alter ego may very well give me the liberal side of the story and the conservative side of it. I may be able to, like I may go to ground news, for example, so I can see different sides of the same story. But that's not an issue of what's real or what's fake. That's just different perspectives. You could debate whether one side is real or not, but essentially those are just different perspectives. The problem that I have, and what I read into what you said, Lois, is I genuinely don't know what is AI generated anymore,
Right.
or what is being taken out of context or repurposed in a manipulative way. And as you were speaking, I was actually thinking to myself, oh, well, you know what? If I go to CNN or Fox News or MSNBC or whatever your poison is, right, I can trust those guys. But guess what? They're getting fed the same
But you
exact garbage
can't.
that I'm getting fed.
Right.
So this is a really profound question.
I think it's a
Hey,
really
hey,
good
Lois?
question.
Do you remember Walter Cronkite,
Oh, sure.
the
That's
news
why-
anchor?
News, yes.
Well, we only had 3 national sources of news in this country, Dave. So that was a news source that we trusted, and he gave us the news once a day in the evening, and we trusted. And as you were talking, I realized, to Tamara's point, we are now being forced to be critical thinkers. It is now our responsibility to prove these things, and we are exactly. And my brain hurts because we haven't used it. We've always relied on somebody else to deliver that piece of information for me. So it could be that we are in a new time in history as a species that we have to actually think.
We have to be critical thinkers at a time when we are we are given tools to make us less critical,
Yeah.
which is
And-
fascinating.
Yeah.
Go team.
Tony, go ahead.
What,
Sorry. Go ahead, Tony.
I'm curious to whether or not we are moving toward being more critical thinkers.
Yeah.
That's the question for me. And the reason I say that is that we know that there's a segment of the population, regardless to what side they might be on, but they believe what they believe as accurate. And so when you have that going on, are we really being critical thinkers? I mean, I think the people here wrestle with it. I think people who are concerned for the overall well-being of the human race might be critical thinkers. But is the general population concerned with critical thinking? I'm not sure.
Yeah.
They think
I
they
would
are
say
critical
the,
thinking.
The
But
general
again, I
public
fear that-
is looking for their tribe.
Again, I fear
That's
that
what they're going after. Is they want to be part of a tribe. They want to join in with something. They want to be connected to reality in a way that's verifiable, and they find a party or a thing or a place or a bunch of people that seem to agree with them, and that's their tribe.
But again, there are two different issues. that we
That's
have
the
here.
real for that person.
The first issue that we started with is something that's completely made up. This is not about tribes or sides or debating. This is about BS, the stuff that isn't real.
Right,
And
but
how
you're
do we
not going to
know?
get.
but there's two ways of being not real. It can be not real because AI made it up and it's a fake person, or it can be not real because it has been selectively edited and it's only showing you those bits that it wants to show you. I mean, that has been going on forever.
Right, for decades.
Right.
Yeah.
But now it's a matter of I'm only seeing it on a screen. I
Right.
don't have a human being to talk to. Walter Cronkite's not here.
Yeah.
What? Oh,
Yeah. How different is AI generated content, completely made up, fake, not real content? How different is that than content that is manipulated or edited in such a way to tell one side of the story? I mean, is it worse? Is it better? What's where do you,
Well,
how do you
someone's controlling the prompt,
Different.
so it is still with a point of view. AI is not just randomly generating videos that are flooding the context. They are being prompted by people who have points of view, by humans.
yeah,
So
garbage out.
I think
But they're in search of an audience. That's what,
right.
my
Mm.
tech
Go
help
ahead.
is not going to work this week. I think I'm coming out of this just as confused as I went into it. So I'm going to make an executive decision
But-
and say,
Lois,
if it's on the screen, I don't believe it.
Lois,
Oh.
worse than you coming out of this not feeling better. I'm coming out of this feeling worse.
I'm
We've
so,
accomplished something
The
today.
second part of your thing was, does it matter? And I think that, like, should I care? So if you say, great, what I see visually is not accurate until I can prove it's accurate, and do I care? Do we now not put as much trust in things that are given to us, which in a way could make us smarter? It's when we're putting trust
my
in
point.
everything that we are, that we're
Victor
getting in trouble.
Victor says something really, really interesting.
That is good.
He says a real person can give you misinformation. Sorry, that text is so small. A real person can give you misinformation just as, now it's gone, just as a generated person could provide accurate, unbiased data.
bingo.
Right?
Yep.
A real person
Propaganda
can give you
has been
misinformation
around
just
since
as a
humans.
generated
Right.
person can provide accurate, unbiased data.
and you don't know.
Right.
You don't know.
Right.
So I guess that means I not only can't trust the screen, I can't trust people anymore.
Well,
You
that's
never could.
I was going to say, I'm going to land
Trust is
this.
how the world is
Avoid
built,
it.
though. Let's remember that trust is how reality gets made. So
Right.
you have to trust something, and then you have to choose what to trust. Your
But,
child trusts
but that's
mom.
the key. But Dave,
Mom trusts husband. It goes all the way up the line.
what you just said,
And
that's
every
the
stop
key.
sign I pulled up to this week, and every stop sign I pulled up to this week, Lois, I thought of you because you said stop signs are the law, and my contention in my head was it's a social agreement that was made into a law.
Yes.
We still all
And
have
both
to.
are true.
Yes, we have. So a law is different than a social agreement, and that we follow it. So
And we agree on what's
I'm
real.
happy for stop signs.
That's how that works. We decide Pixar is not real because it's a cartoon, and we try and train our kids to understand the difference. And we get
stop.
books that are trying to persuade us of things that aren't real. And we then have a way of going between suspending belief for entertainment and actually relying on that stuff for information. And it's what school's all about, actually.
You know,
Learning
one
to
of
think.
Walter
critical.
Cronkite isn't around anymore. Pixar's not real. David, what are you doing to me?
I know. You know, I remember
Trying to break
this
the mold.
this summer when after Joe Biden dropped out of last summer, after Joe Biden dropped out of running again, and the narrative changed in pretty drastically to we were told not to believe what we could see with our own eyes. Okay.
Right.
Now, I'm not interested in debating whether that narrative is true or not, but what's interesting to me is that that argument is reliant on the fact that we can trust what we see with our own eyes, that seeing is believing. And that is fundamentally not true anymore.
Right.
Seeing
Except
is
depending
not
where you look.
believing. And so regardless of your politics, that's probably a poor argument that you saw it with your own eyes, therefore you should believe it.
So I think you have to clarify. When I say I see it with my own eyes, I mean I am physically present with the thing. There's that hummingbird.
okay.
I see it with
Right.
my own eyes.
Good
I'm
point.
not talking about I saw it on a screen.
Sorry. Good. Yes, that's a very good point. I'm sorry I'm fidgeting. My seat is falling out from under me. Yes, that's a really good point. I'm sorry. I was thinking about seeing on a screen also. You're absolutely right, Lois. Yeah.
With therapy, you have to stay on track.
Yeah.
Ain't gonna work. Not
All right.
today.
Let's talk money. Money. We're going to pull it off now. Money. It has been years since I've walked into a bank. And boy, when I was driving down the road and I realized that, it really just hit me every once in a while, the way that the world has changed and how different my life is now from the way it was when I was a young adult. It's just astonishing. And the way my favorite thing is to pay for gas with my watch. Because I pull right up, double click, hold it up to the thing. I'm paid, I'm done, I pump, I go. I don't even use,
My most
can't
fun
remember the
time is
last
to
time I
stand
carried
at the
cash
checkout
around.
and check my bank balance and move some money over so that I can pay for my groceries. And I can do it in the time it takes this lady to get through the line. That banking on location is just wonderful.
My wife
Refilling
and
my
I,
Starbucks app.
my wife and I went to an accountant this afternoon, and we were talking about, how much we should be taking out of our monthly paychecks. And I didn't know, I'm an old fart, and I did not know that you can take out more money than just married filing with spouse takes out. And he showed me, and I opened up on my phone, I went to my payroll, and I put in, I'd like to take an additional X number of dollars out every month of my pay, or every 2 weeks of my paycheck. And it did it, and it saved it. And the world has changed. Technology has reshaped financial life for I think so many of us. And by the way, before I go any farther, let me just say, because I can already hear this coming up, next week, our topic is going to be equity in access, equity in internet access. We're going to talk about brown zones and black zones and areas where people don't have access. so I just want to go into today's discussion with the understanding that all the technologies that we're talking about are not equally available to everyone. So let me put that out there. We are going to address that next week. But for this
That's our
week,
acknowledgement each week. Yes.
yeah, you're right. We have been acknowledging. We pay with our phones. We invest from apps. We send money across borders in seconds. Financial technology, or fintech, as it's called, has really fundamentally changed the way that we interact with money, the way we earn money, the way we save money. I can't remember the last time I deposited a check. It just all happens automatically. So my first question to you is, what is something that you used to do with money, related to money, that you, in thinking now, have not done in maybe a decade or more, in years?
Well, I haven't carried cash in my wallet for a very long time now.
Okay.
Everything is tap to pay for me, and it's universal up here. It's not like you have to worry about the corn. In fact, you can go to a farmer's market and it's tap to pay for corn. I mean, you could just pull out your card and go bing, and the guy's got the money. So we don't have any. Actually, I have very little credit as such because I can do it all with the payments, and I don't have to borrow money as much as I used to have to do. So that's changed for me.
I noticed yesterday, my mom, I took her to the DMV and she redid her license and she paid with a check. And I was like, I don't think I have paid with a check in so long. Like, definitely since pre-COVID, because I think the only check I wrote in the last 20 years was when I was ice skating and had to pay a coach. Other than that, I literally don't think I don't even know if I have checks, to be honest with you. I think I'd have to go to the bank.
Well,
Just yesterday, I wrote a check because it was not convenient, but it saved me $80 because I had to buy a bunch of wood. We're building some stairs here at the house in the building, and the place I buy the wood from says, yeah, if I don't have to pay, Visa or MasterCard, that percentage, I'll give it to you. I'm thinking, I'll take that 10%.
Yep.
so for me, I'm pretty old-fashioned. I write checks every week or every other week to a cleaners. I have a couple of folks who come and work at the house, and sometimes he'll say, can I have it in cash next week? I'll take a check this week, but I want cash next week. And so I'm still dealing with that. Biggest change for me has been that our credit union remodeled the building and they got rid of the drop box. I used to be able to take my checks, fill out the form, drop it in the box anytime, day or night, and can't do that anymore. So now I've gone back to mailing a check to my bank.
Lois, what are you
No, that's
doing?
fine.
You
Well,
take
I'm
a
getting
picture of it and you
No.
deposit it in the app.
Well, unfortunately, the church is in the same place as my thing, and I'm the treasurer. So if I open the app, it goes into the church thing, not into mine.
You mail your checks to your bank. Oh my goodness.
If I'm not going to be down there when they're open, yeah.
Tony,
I mean, we go shopping at 7 a.m. to avoid the lines, right?
yeah. Tony, what's something
I'm
that you
all
haven't
in.
done?
I actually, I was struggling the other day. My wife was saying that we need some cash in the house. Excuse me. That we needed some cash in the house, and I was trying to think the last time I actually went to the ATM, and I don't remember. I really don't remember the last time I went to the ATM to get cash from it. I'm using Zelle, and I'm using PayPal, and I'm using
Venmo.
my bank Cash App, and that's kind of, I deposit checks directly to the bank. I take a picture of the front and the back, and it's deposited instantly. And so that's kind of the world that I'm in right now. But the last time I got cash, I really don't remember.
Yeah.
I had a contrast where I had been without money for so long. I go to Japan and everything's in cash. They do a credit card at a big thing like a hotel or something, but when you're on the street and you're just doing coffee or you're stopping for a sandwich, They're looking for cash. They're not going to. No, this tap to pay stuff. Sorry, we don't do that.
Are they looking for the
and you-
American
I still use
dollar,
cash in New York.
or
Yeah.
are they looking for the dollar or yen?
Oh, it's yen. Yeah,
Oh,
it's
yen.
all yen.
Okay.
Yeah,
That's,
but it's just they
that's
want to
interesting.
verify that it's real money, not just some electronic stuff. So they're getting it, but it's slow for them.
Yeah.
But I've been 15 years now with tap to pay, and it's so automatic for me that I forget there's places in the world that don't do it.
3.4
Well, Home
billion
Depot doesn't
people.
do it.
Say again?
Home Depot doesn't do it.
They don't have
Like-
tap to pay?
No, you have to. I mean, you've got to use a credit card. You can't use your Apple Pay.
Oh, okay.
Like, I need places that I am judgmental when they don't take Apple Pay.
I am too.
find.
Real quick, Lois, 3.4 billion people use digital wallets, Apple Pay or Venmo or PayPal, or I guess someone might use a Google Wallet. I'm not sure. 3.4 billion people. It's half the world's population. Go ahead, Lois, but you're muted.
How do you carry a digital wallet?
On your phone.
In your phone.
It's in your phone. So for me, you double click on
The tap
this.
to pay is
Yeah.
the digital wallet.
So you double click on your button, or you or on your watch, you double click. And the great part about Apple Pay, and this is the reason I use it all the time, is because it doesn't actually use your card.
Right.
It creates
It's secure.
a dummy. I don't even know what it's called, but it creates
It's
Virtual
a token.
a tokenized card. And so when you're worried about someone having a skimmer that can read credit card numbers at a gas station, which I've heard is a big thing, that's why I can just double click on my watch and use it like that. It's fantastic. It really has
Now,
changed. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
My car, apparently, my Hyundai, you can set it up so that it will tell you which gas stations take your car, and you can drive up. And now I have not set this up yet, but apparently that is one of the features of my car. So I can drive up to the pump, knowing that it takes it and it will take gas. Will do my
I've actually
gas
heard
without me
about that.
doing anything.
Yeah, I've heard about that.
It feels weird. I
love
haven't done it yet. I love the
it.
idea of it, but I haven't done it yet.
Lois, go ahead.
So we've been talking about real money that you're just moving around electronically. I mean, we've had bank transfers for years and all other stuff. I want to talk about this fake money. It's not real money. And what the heck is cryptocurrency? Dave Troutman, help me out.
Okay. Well, this fellow came up with an idea for being able to verify a transaction, and it was pretty amazing. And it's called blockchain. So a blockchain is a series of transactions that are chained together, one right after the other, but they are in blocks. And then there's a computational verification, which is done by a computer, and a person has to sign on with their computer to do that job for people. And the reward they get is a Bitcoin. So a transaction happens between Dave and Sky, and it's a $10,000 transaction, and we're both happy with the outcome because I spent it and he got it. And the verification of it came from a guy in China who had a computer which was set up to verify thousands upon thousands of transactions.
Sorry, Dave.
Now,
wait,
this
hold
whole
on.
blockchain thing
Dave.
was an experiment. Yes, sir.
What do you mean verify? Sorry, you just
Well, that I'm real and Sky is real and the money is real.
how
do they
how
know?
does this third party verify that we're real?
Numerically. So I have a wallet which I verified as I'm the real person and I'm putting money in this wallet. And Sky has a wallet for his Bitcoin, and he has a verifications process where he is real, and then the two of us can do a blockchain transaction. If you're not real, you can't do it. And you can't fake this because it's all connected to real money.
You know why you
Now-
can't fake it? Because no one understands it. Because what you just said makes
Okay,
zero
but we're only
sense
partway-
whatsoever. What?
We're partway through, and we'll get there, David. We'll get there.
Okay.
What it is that blockchain is a transaction verifier. Okay. To prove his concept, he invented a thing called Bitcoin. And he thought if he could minimize the amount of Bitcoin that could be created, he could keep inflation from happening. So the experiment was to see if people would take their money and convert it to a Bitcoin and have transactions that only operate in that environment. And every once in a while, a person verifying the transactions is rewarded with a coin. And if you did enough transactions, you could actually generate your own coin and use it in that venue as currency. So it's a lot like, I don't know, bartering, but it's just bartering transactions. So over time, somebody figured out that you could speculate on this and created brokerages for Bitcoin, which is fake. Those are not real. And Bitcoin itself is a person-to-person transaction. And if you have to go through a broker, you've just broken the chain. They can use you and charge a fee for doing this transaction for you, like they used to with the banks, and you're being taken for a ride. So the thing about speculation is it's like, I don't know, tulip bulbs. They have value only as much as somebody else wants to pay for it. And people have discovered, and we've renamed a whole arena in LA after crypto.com, is it? Who are brokers for this kind of stuff. The irony in the whole story here is that the blockchain is not meant to do with money. It was meant to do with any kind of brokering. If you have two guys who bought something and they have to ship it across the Pacific, they usually have a broker pay for buying it off one and selling it to the other and insuring it along the way. So if it does sink, everybody gets their money. But if they don't sink, he gets a fee. And he carries that risk all the way across the ocean. The blockchain puts that guy out of business because we've already done the transfer, and until the product arrives, Sky can't cash out the check. So it really is a better way of doing brokering for insurance purposes. You can do brokering for, I don't know, what do we call brokers these days? There are financial brokers. There are guys who will broker for cars. There's all kinds of levels where you have the word broker in the business. And I claimed a long time ago when I first checked out blockchain that it can apply to any transaction anybody does as a go-between between the transactions. Now you can put blockchain in that spot and verify any transaction.
So Dave,
crypto was simply the first thing that did this. That's all.
What happens when the ship sinks? If there's no,
well, they're always
ships
are always insured. All their contents are insured. Lloyd's of London made its fortune by insuring every boat on the ocean. And if they sink, then they pay out. But when they don't sink, they make a lot of money. And they've been doing it for centuries.
Okay, so can I continue to ask you a few questions?
Sure, yeah, one or two.
Okay, so cryptocurrency is different than blockchain, right?
No, it uses blockchain.
Yeah, it uses blockchain, but it's not the same thing. It's a
That's
different.
right.
And
That's
so,
right.
Is cryptocurrency like monopoly money?
Yeah, very much. Yes.
Then what use is it?
It's only useful for people who want to play the speculation game, which is monopoly money could be, printed forever. Well, blockchain doesn't allow that you can print crypto forever. So it's going to stop at some point and run out because Bitcoin is designed to run out at a certain number. And then all the computations are done and they move on to some other sort of blockchain application. So it was only an experiment, but then everybody thought they could create their own coin. And now there's, 150 different kind of crypto coins, and none of them are worth anything except the people who want to trade in them.
So I read a bunch of stuff. I did a lot of research last 2 days, and I came away almost as confused as I was. But in one of the things, there was assurances that, yes, you can buy food, you can buy a house, you can buy a car, you can buy all these things using cryptocurrency. And help, David.
Yeah, well, that's where the brokers kind of made the move, is to go to the edges and take that transaction from Bitcoin to cash. And then they did that for you. Instead of the dealership, say I'm buying a car and I want to buy a $35,000 car. And if the company has signed up to be on crypto, I could put my 35 into crypto coin of any kind, and then tell them my wallet's going to send you the equivalent of $35,000 in coin, and then they would say, "Oh, we accept that." But we can't get everybody to deal with that. It's like the early credit cards in like
Right.
the 30s. Nobody really trusted them. They didn't know why it was made of plastic, and they thought real money was real. And
Well, why don't
you
I
know,
just give them the money if I'm buying
yeah,
a car? I mean, the real
yeah,
money.
the real
They
money.
call it
And
that
some
in
people,
fiat.
this is true too. In my country, sometimes the dealership will not accept cash. They
Cash?
want it. Yeah, they will not
Yep.
take cash
Oh,
because they want to verify, that you haven't stolen the cash. So they need it to go through a bank. And then the bank will verify that this is a real transaction and protect it. But that's just a legal thing. That's trouble in the fraud market. So how do you launder money? You get somebody to make use of the money and then give it back to you. So Bitcoin is just the Dodge right now, or Doge. It's just now play money to learn the process and learn the concept. But since the introduction of Bitcoin and other currencies like that, uh, blockchain has taken over all the underground stuff, like all the stuff between major manufacturers and all the rest. They're doing it through blockchain verification in order to make sure their deals are verified. So that's the problem with blockchain and crypto, is that it's more important that you understand blockchain than you do any kind of verification of other things, because you can apply it to almost anything.
Joe Callie, who's watching, says $1 is only worth the amount two parties agree to. The paper has no value as art or wallpaper. And Victor says, crypto is not just for speculation. Home Depot accepts Bitcoin for payment. So I can't
That's
pay
right. If
with
they
Apple
decide to
Pay,
accept
Can't
it,
pay with Apple Pay,
but I can
we'll
use
take crypto.
but you
Bitcoin.
can use, if you had a Bitcoin wallet there in your phone, yes, you could do it there.
So let me ask this, Dave.
Mhm.
I'm obsessed because the penny in America is being discontinued.
Aw,
Wait, is that for
I-
real?
That
Did
is
they
real.
actually decide that?
we don't have pennies either. Yeah, I
Yes.
haven't had pennies in almost 10 years.
And I love the penny. I haven't used a penny
Aw.
in a very long time. I probably have a jar of them somewhere, which is probably why they're
Oh.
going to stop making them.
My dad had a suitcase full, yes.
But the argument for stopping the penny is that it costs so much money to actually continue to produce pennies that we hoard. So as much as I love the penny, there's a good argument to be made as
They
to why
don't
we shouldn't
circulate.
have them anymore. Is crypto, is that not an issue then, because it's not an issued form
That's
of
right.
payment?
It's a number in a wallet. Yes.
So then that saves tons of money potentially.
Wow, that's the other side. It costs a lot of money and energy
Right.
to have these computers doing these calculations to verify it. And
a
they
lot
used to
more than a
locate
penny.
in China, they locate near power dams so they can plug right in to the high power and get 500,000 computers in a warehouse to do all this stuff and generate about 1,000 Bitcoin a day.
But people using Bitcoin are still a small number. So as soon as we
Yes.
switch to everybody is using Bitcoin and it costs that much money to generate, then we're really not saving money. Is what you're
No,
saying.
we're not. We're actually burning the planet. Yeah.
Excellent.
So
I feel better already.
I'm still going with it after reading all this and listening to you, it still seems as though a credit card or a digital wallet or something like that makes more sense than a cryptocurrency, because it has the advantages. You don't have to print pennies, but it doesn't have the disadvantages. So that
The only reason your credit card works is you trust the company that issued the card and they'll give you a loan every time you use the card. You're actually taking out a loan, and then you promise to pay it back, and they have reasons to be able to control that. And in any kind of crypto transaction, it's just you and the other party. There's no middleman. There's no bank in the middle.
So there's a question that comes up. When I was doing this, I was getting a lot of really biased information back, like charts
like
and
pitches.
things.
Yeah.
What's good about this and what's bad about? And one of the things that was touted a lot for cryptocurrency was privacy. Nobody can know what you're doing, and it sounds to me like, well, that's a real good deal for criminals. Is that a problem? Are criminals a problem?
Well, at first it was, but in fact, you can look at the ledger. The ledger is in public. Your wallet has a little link to it, and you can go look at every transaction happening right now. And you don't know who the people are doing it, but you can see all the transactions. And so the verification of it is open to everybody who participates, and they can go back and check to see if, I don't know, Sky Gleason is moving $1 million every week. Then we could look at him pretty closely, like the IRA would.
But I thought you couldn't tell it was Sky Gleason. It's supposed to be anonymous.
That's right. Yeah, it is anonymous to any of the two parties. Yeah. But Sky and I would have to have an agreement that I'm sending him $10,000 and he's receiving it. But outside of that, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know what his wallet serial number would be. Yeah.
FedEx will be delivering a box of seashells to you, and I hope they have a value, because at one time they did in certain cultures.
Mhm.
So I expect my trinkets to be.
I have little pieces of gold, which I've panned out of the river here, and I'll send those back in exchange. Yes.
Can I pull the camera back a little bit?
I appreciate,
because I'm going to be honest, and this is not a reflection on your explanation, Dave. This is a reflection on my own ignorance and stupidity. I have no idea what you just said. Like, I cannot wrap my head around this concept. But I want to pull out a little bit and ask about question about freedom. These new technologies, all of this fintech, the blockchain, crypto, digital wallets, do we have more freedom? Do we have more control over our finances now? Were we better off when we could, when we were hiding cash under our mattresses? On the one hand, it feels very empowering to have access to all of my financial information in my phone. On the other hand, boy, am I putting my trust, a tremendous amount of trust, in institutions, in digital technological institutions, not even in financial institutions, but really in technology institutions. So where do we all fall on the freedom or the control or how has this impacted our humanity in this respect?
Well, I've pulled my money out of a large, I love the word that you used, institution, financial institution, which I've been with for 30 years, because they were charging me services to hold my money. I got no interest, and I joined a credit union, a local to this region up here, and all of a sudden, in my savings account, rather than losing $20 a month, I'm gaining $20 a month, because that money's being used by the community, and compound interest is my friend. Who knew? I apparently didn't. Well, I no longer have to support a financial institution that seems to require a lot of money to put their name on the side of a football stadium.
Yep.
So there's my choice. There's my freedom.
Yeah, I'm for that too. Yeah, I'm a credit union person too.
So am I. I think the key to this is trust. So if there's a financial institution, whether it's a bank or a credit union, that you put your money into and have a reliance that you will be able to get your money back out when you need it, and it's insured by the government. Wait a minute, this is insured. So all of that sounds really good. Now, David, you said that you put your money in a digital place that you weren't sure about. So who is keeping the money for you? Are you sure you can get it back? Is it insured? I can walk down to the corner and walk in the door and get it. What can you do?
You addressing me or David?
David Paskin.
Well, it's not that I'm putting my money in Apple, but they are, because I'm using their technology, or Google or any other platform, because I'm using their technology as a go-between, right? It goes back to walking into the bank, right? In the past, the go-between was the teller. It was a human being that I could talk to, that I could ask a question of, they weren't always in a good mood. I didn't always get exactly what I wanted, but now my go-between is my digital device.
But your money is safe because your money is still being held by financial institutions. And this is just the go-between. So you're okay.
Well,
but
I'm not particularly worried about it. I mean, look, I think there are two different levels here. There's the two levels of financial tech, which I can't believe I'm even talking about this. I'm so unqualified. But one level is the pieces of technology that we use to interact with our money. So the apps and the tools that we use to move money, to send money, the tools that we use to
advisors,
purchase, right? That kind of stuff. Then there's, on perhaps a much deeper or more profound level, are new types of technological finance, like blockchain technology, like crypto technology. So, and that I'm just not in that world. I've never been in that world because I don't understand it. So yes, where the tools have replaced the teller, the money is still safe because fundamentally it's still a bank. It's just the way we interact with that bank is fundamentally different. But then again, so is the way we interact with stores. I mean, almost 95% of my purchasing is done online.
Yeah.
Right.
Even grocery?
Hey, Dave Troutman.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Hey, Dave Troutman. Can you jump back into the Wayback Machine for us? I'll do the sound effects and tell us about what barter means.
Was like, well, that's where I have a service.
Where did barter?
You pay me in a cow. I'm a veterinarian. You're going to give me a cow if I can get your whole herd healthy. That's a barter.
My dad was a preacher. He got paid in chickens one time.
Yeah, right. And
that's what they had legit on the farm in western Kansas.
It's what's valuable to people, and what a Pullman needs,
and that's
crypto.
Food,
so,
essentially,
in the sense that
because you're both agreeing that that's an okay form of payment.
But it's a real thing. It's a real thing.
But it's not a real thing. That's the point.
Or it's a cow. It is
no.
Thing.
Barter is a real thing. Yeah.
Barter is a real thing. Crypto is not.
That's what she's talking about.
Exactly.
Is crypto, are we using an incorrect word? Crypto is not tangible, but it is real. So when I used to teach first grade, we used to talk about living things and real things. So a teddy bear is real, but it is not living. And I feel like when we're talking about crypto, it is a similar concept, that it is a real thing, but is not a tangible thing like your
That's right.
It's cash.
There's no actual coin. This is the funny thing. The news guys have invented this coin with a B on it, and it's Bitcoin, and there's no such thing. Yeah. There's no currency as such. It's
do you see governments moving from cash to some sort of digital currency? I mean, I understand that the whole point of crypto and blockchain is to be decentralized. I that much I understand.
Yes.
And so as soon as a government does it, it sort of breaks that whole model. But is there
they're quite afraid of it. Yeah.
Yeah.
They're really frightened.
But is there a movement for governments to create a digital cash?
I think that would depend upon who owns the government.
Well, we own the government.
No, we don't.
Nobody owns the government.
At some point, there may well be a leader who says you're going to stop printing money, and if the government stopped printing money, then the people would have to figure out alternate ways of exchanging values and work. And
let's
go
back to
force them into using Bitcoin.
That sounds fantastic to me, actually.
The value of a dollar was originally based on gold bullion, correct?
Right.
So before 1975,
since we are no longer Okay, Dave. Keep bring it back, Dave. Where did the gold bullion and value come into relationship to cash?
Yeah, well, again, it's scarcity versus need. You have currency like a dollar bill, and if the government can't pay its debts, it devalues the currency so that it can handle that, and that's where inflation comes from. And so, money becomes less and less worth something, whereas gold doesn't change its value. And when the dollar is less, the gold is worth. Well, you have to have more dollars to get the same amount of gold, so then it's worth more dollars. Now, dollars are variable. The exchange rate between Canada and the US gives me a little bit of an advantage because my dollar's cheaper. So all Canadian products appear cheaper because you don't have to use as many US dollars to buy them as I would Canadian dollars. So that's a bit of the gold thing. Is gold is a standard by which all countries agree that gold will have a value, and these people will set that value every morning. They actually, it's cute. It's in London, and it's a set of four desks facing each other, and on each desk is a flag of the country the person representing that body is sitting, and they have this flag. And when they agree on the price, they raise the flag, and it's a little flag about this big. And the person in the next chair has to agree that's to this morning's price, and they put up their flag. And after all four are there, they declare it in the morning. Now it's called the morning fix and the afternoon fix. They do it again in the late afternoon when they've had lunch. And this all happens in London, England, and it's the start of the cycle each day of how value of the gold changes. And they watch the value of the gold change on a number of fronts,
Dave.
and then they declare its value. So
Dave.
this is the same thing as currency is backed by the government to say that's the value.
Dave,
Mm-hmm.
stop messing around.
True.
That cannot be
One
real.
of the banks that did this was a Canadian bank called Scotiabank, Nova Scotia Bank, and they were one of the four desks.
Are you serious?
And they got in trouble for manipulating the price of gold and got kicked out. And
Joe
now
Kelly
can't
wants
buy
you to
gold.
explain fungible tokens.
Oh, I'm ready for that. Fungible tokens, yes.
No, not fungible.
Fungible
That's
tokens
focus, right?
actually,
You have 30 seconds
like-
to give us fungible tokens. Go ahead.
they're a bit like a credit card. You're taking out a loan when you get a fungible token, and then somebody has to redeem that, and that's the simplest way to explain it. It's like having a club card and getting credits for buying stuff and then cashing that credit out. You got 9 coffees, you get 1 for free. So
Here's what I
fungible
really want to
tokens
know,
are kind
Dave.
of like that.
Do you use any of this stuff? You understand it clearly. Do you use Bitcoin
Totally.
or things like that?
It's funny. You were talking earlier about how you don't do it because you don't understand it. I don't do it because I understand it.
Oh.
I do know what's going on.
Tell
and
me
I will
more.
Not buy in. This is, we forever talk about the tulip bulb mania in the 1800s, where people were selling, futures on future bulbs that might or might not grow. And it just took off, and everybody was trying to buy stuff just on the futures market. And this is how crashes happen. And in 2008, everybody had a futures investment in people's mortgages, and they were buying 1/100th of a mortgage and sharing it with 99 other investors. And these tranches, as they called them, were these fungible things that they could cash out on later when the person paid their mortgage. And they would get a 1/100th of that payment. Now, if you have enough mortgages in a pile, the averaging of all that seemed reasonable, except when the average curve tips downward and it all starts to become a liability. And that's what happened in 2006 when all the loans stopped. And in 2007, there was no more money to put into anything. Banks were not letting anybody have money. People who had a Cadillac dealership for 50 years could not get a loan to get their next cars. They just couldn't. And the whole thing came down in the summer of 2007 when the shipping in the world came to a complete halt for 6 months. Nobody noticed because nobody wanted to talk about it. And in 2008, it was called the Big Recession. And that's what happened is people speculated on mortgages and it didn't work. Now they're speculating on crypto. It's not going to work.
Wow.
And on that happy note,
No, I'm so thankful.
Buy your
that there-
gold tomorrow because you might not get your cash the next day.
What I've learned today is that the extent to which I thought technology had impacted finance is I mean, I haven't even scratched the
Very
surface.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you talk about high frequency trading.
Wow.
Oh, no. No.
We'll do that one another day. On another day.
Another
I know
I'm
there's so
still-
much. There's so much that we haven't talked about today, but gee, I hope we don't.
And what do you mean? What do you mean teddy bears aren't real?
Yeah.
First Walter Cronkite, and now
God, that
those
was-
no
Teddy
teddy
bears
bears.
real.
are-
They're just not
Teddy
alive.
bears are real. They're
Oh.
not living.
That was the best.
Oh,
By the
what?
way,
Oh.
if we ever get to the point where we're doing
That-
show titles, that's it. Teddy bears are real.
That's today's show
Yeah,
title.
that's
Teddy
the show
bears
title.
are real, but not
I
alive.
love that.
What do you mean they're not alive? Of course they're alive.
They are.
In our-
Ted is a great movie. I want to thank all of you for being here today. And I hope that you'll come back
Thanks for
next
your
week. All of
patience.
you watching, I hope you'll come back next week. We're going to be talking about equity and access. It is so important. And then we have a special guest coming on the following week to talk about, supers, conductor, computers. Lois, what is it again? Super, what is it? What are they called? Crypto.
Califragilisticexpialidocious.
Something
that's it.
really big that I don't understand.
Really big computers.
Big, fancy computers. Thanks for watching, everyone.
Quantum computing, David.